was a kid, I used to envy my older brothers. They looked so much like my parents. One brother had our dad's carrot-colored hair, and the other one had our mom's saucer-sized eyes. I remember wondering if they would inherit our dad's receding hairline. But that was just wishful thinking. My sister and I looked nothing like each other or our parents, but we did share one thing in common. We were both adopted from South Korea. We aren't blood related, but that didn't matter because she was my big sister and I idolized her. Well, sometimes. Aside from the diversity, my family was as normal as any other family. But there were times that I felt lonely, like there was this emptiness inside that I couldn't shake. And even with 3 other divas, I mean siblings, I couldn't make it go away. Every now and then, I would think about my birth mother. Did I look like her? Did she miss me? Was she even alive? I knew these questions would go unanswered because my adoption papers only had one origin for me, and that was abandoned at birth. So anyways, I grew up and I had a son. I had no idea I could fall in love with someone so instantly, so fiercely. But what surprised me was his hands, his nose, his eyes. He looked like me. This was such a foreign thing for me, but it also felt so natural. I had someone I could look at and see myself, but so could he. So years go by, and I don't feel lonely anymore. I have a family of my own to care for, and that was enough for me. It was like all the puzzle pieces just fit. But then, in the summer of 2011, when I was 38 years old, I got an email from a lady with an adoption agency, my adoption agency. She was looking for someone with my name. I felt skeptical. Was this a scam? So I grilled her for more context because none of this made any sense. As far as I knew, I was abandoned at birth. The lady from the emails was able to tell me that there was family, but she needed to verify that it was really me. So after a battery of emails confirming this and confirming that, we scheduled a call. The first thing she says is, "Are you sitting down?" "Yes." "You're not driving a car?" "No." My heart is pounding so hard right now. What is she gonna tell me? She continues, "Well, good. I'm happy to tell you that you have family from South Korea. They've been searching for you for years. Your mother is alive and well. I'm so sorry your father passed away from lung cancer. You have 2 younger brothers and you have a twin sister." The only thing I could say was, "Oh my God." But in my head, I'm screaming, "Holy shit! I have a twin!" I couldn't really talk after that. I was crying. It was the kind of crying that stings your brain, the kind of crying that makes your nostrils feel like you just sucked up a gallon of pool water. The puzzle pieces didn't fit anymore. To learn this late in life, it made me sad. It made me sad that I missed all these years without my twin. So shortly after the call, the lady from the email forwards 2 letters from my birth mother and my twin. They both echo the same sentiment. "I've missed you." I thought of my son at that moment. When he was born, the instinct to keep him close, to protect him, was as easy as breathing. I remember once he asked me what true love was, and I told him, for me, it's when I die for it. I can't imagine anyone giving up their baby, but if they had to, it must have felt like dying. So it turns out, okay, stay with me here because it's kind of confusing, but so it turns out that my birth father's older sister, who would be my aunt, was the one who insisted that I go to an orphanage. In fact, she's the one that took me there. You see, in Korea, you obey your elders, and my aunt was the matriarch of the family. Back then, it was considered bad luck to have twins. So I would be the secret nobody was supposed to know about, not even my twin. A reunion was arranged 2 months later at the corporate headquarters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My birth mother and her second husband were coming, along with my twin and her family. My parents couldn't make it, so I took myself, my son, and 2 of my closest friends. Life was starting to feel like a roller coaster. One minute, I'm daydreaming about my newfound family, and then the next, I'm debilitated and I'm falling apart. On the day of the reunion, we drive to the adoption agency. The lady from the emails is waiting, and so is my Korean family, but they're tucked away in a conference room. It felt like I was on some kind of game show where nobody is allowed to see each other until the big reveal. The lady from the emails ushers my 2 friends into the conference room first, and then she tells me and my son to wait a few minutes before we enter. I notice the conference room doors. They are large and looming with the shiniest brass handles I've ever seen. I'm nervous, so I nudge my son. You go in first. No, he says, you're the twin. I realize he's just as nervous as I am, so I take a deep breath. I turn a brass handle, and I open a conference room door. At first, it's so quiet in there. And then I heard gasps. Suddenly, 2 women are running towards me, arms outstretched with tears in their eyes, and the only thing I can do is put my hand over my heart as if to anchor it. As soon as I saw my twin, I gravitated towards her. It was crazy looking at her. It was like looking at a stranger, but with my face. We shared the same features, the same hand gestures, even the same laugh. She was the spitting image of me, well, with less makeup. And you know, even though we just met, she felt like home. She felt familiar. The first words my birth mother said to me were "미안해," which means I'm sorry in Korean. And then she says "사랑해," which means I love you in Korean. After that, she turns to my twin and tells her that she loves her too. We spent a few hours in that conference room. There was a translator in there to help us communicate because my twin, she could speak a little English, but not a lot, and my birth mother knew none. I would learn to call my birth mother Oma and my birth father Appa. I also learned my twin's first name, Jin-hee. I think this reunion was healing for my family, my Korean family. Like it gave them a sense of closure. But especially for Jin-hee. You see, when Oma turned to my twin and told her that she loved her, that was the first time Jin-hee had ever heard those words. Because my birth mother, Oma, didn't feel right telling one twin that she loved her without telling the other one. And that broke my heart because I already felt protective of my twin, Jin-hee. So I left that conference room with not only new family, but family traits. And here's the thing that I've learned about family. My family here taught me that you don't need blood to feel connected. And my family in Korea taught me just how much culture and resilience is in my blood. Twins are never bad luck. If you think about it, they're twice as lucky. I have visited South Korea 3 times. On one of those visits, I spent the day with my twin. It was late afternoon, and we're sitting next to each other on the rooftop of our high-rise apartment building. Nothing is said at first. We just sit there, watching a lavender and gold sky wilt into the ground. It was almost as if it was grieving for all those yesterdays. Then my twin turns to me and whispers, "I wish we could have grown up together." And it was at that moment that I imagined us in another reality. We're sitting on the rooftop, watching the sunset, but this time we're little girls. And I think about that because really when you think about it, we still have so much time to grow up together. Thank you.